So I'm going to have you start today all the way down on your belly if that's comfortable for you. If you have low back issues or are pregnant or any other restrictions why laying flat on your belly is not a good option for you, then the choices are you can lay on your back, you can lay on your side, or you can even just do a comfortable, easy seated position. We're going to use the centering option, centering section to also kind of work into our warm-up poses, but we'll get all together eventually anyway. So find your comfortable centering position and then just start to wiggle into that just a bit, taking a moment to really get comfortable. So you might want to stack your hands like pancakes and rest one cheek down. You can rest the forehead. Any options that work best for your neck that way. You don't need to use your hands. You can come right to the floor. And then maybe just shift the ankles side to side. Loosen up the hips and the low back if you're there. And feel the belly moving against the floor on the inhale. And feel it moving away from the floor on the exhale. Maybe close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Keep the breath moving. Notice any particular sensations in the body that might be helping to inform how you move into postures today. Noticing your mind and the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your energy, and noticing if as you focus on your breath and keep your attention focused on this next inhale and this next exhale, maybe you can quiet the mind, bring stillness to the thoughts, and that will help to bring calmness to the body. If you've started with one cheek down on the floor or on your hands, just gently lift your head, slowly turn it, and lower the other cheek and rest on this side, getting a passive neck stretch. Taking about 3 to 4 more rounds, and if you've noticed that since the last time you checked, your attention has wandered and you are caught up in thoughts again, there's no judgment. Just use this time to direct the attention back to the breath and use the breath to calm the body. Again, if you have one cheek down, I'm going to invite you to stack your hands now and lower the forehead to the backs of the hands. And on the next inhale, you're just going to slide that right knee out to the side, out to the right side, bending the knee. The ankle is about perpendicular down from the knee, and then you're going to just slide the knee up towards the hip, any amount that's comfortable for you. If you start to notice any discomfort in the low back, anything in the pelvis or hips that is pinching and telling you that this is not a good space for you, you just back off. Otherwise, we're going to just rest here for about 3 breaths in half frog. Continuing to feel the belly move against the floor, pressing on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. And then your next natural exhale, just start to slide that right knee back into its place again, lengthening the leg. And then do the same thing on the left side. Just pull the left leg out and then start to pull it up towards the hip, any amount. Allowing for some extra space and loosening in the hips, in the low back. Last inhale here. And then exhale to slide the left leg back long. And release those hands from each other and just start to swing those elbows back towards your rib cage. Press the hands underneath the shoulders. And without putting any additional pressure into the hands, you're going to just lift the sternum away from the floor. You're not pushing the floor away with your hands. You're lifting the collarbones and the sternum up with the backside of the muscles. Paying attention to your ankles and your toes here. You're wanting the ankles to stay up towards the ceiling, avoiding letting the ankles either cave in or out. And then inhale, you're going to just bring the chin over to the right shoulder. Look over that shoulder. Exhale back to center. And then inhale, look over the left shoulder. And then exhale back to center. On your next inhale, slide the hands forward so that you can lower the elbows directly under the shoulders. Pulling the shoulder blades down towards the waist on the back body. Bring your gaze to about maybe 12 to 18 inches in front of you. Think about pulling the sternum forward to the wall in front of you as you isometrically pull the hands and the elbows back towards your hips. Take another full breath here. And then exhale, lower the chin towards the chest. Slide those hands back under the shoulders. Tuck the toes into the mat or the floor, and then press the floor away and come to tabletop position, which is knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. And you have your spine in neutral, meaning that you are not trying to round it up and you're not allowing the belly to sway down. You're keeping the natural curve in the low back, pressing the outer arms to the walls to the side, and then take one full breath here. This time allow the belly to sway as you reach the chin up, reach the tail up, and then exhale. This time tuck the chin, tuck the tail, let the middle back press up to the ceiling. And then one more time, inhale into cow pose, and then exhale into angry cat. Inhale back to neutral. Spine is lengthened. Tuck the toes into the floor. You're going to inhale and just let the knees float up any amount. So maybe the knees are an inch or two off the floor. Maybe you even have them up 3 or 4 inches. You're allowing the upper arm bones to support you, broadening across the upper back, letting the breath flow. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, lower the knees down. As you do, shift the hips back and extend the arms long, lowering the forehead to the floor. So it's not the traditional child's pose. You still have the toes tucked in. You still have the heels up. You're extending the arms long, maybe even reaching those fingers forward. And then really pressing into the palms so that your elbows float, shoulder blades pull down towards the waist on the back body, and you're going to inhale and lift your gaze towards your fingers. Slide the hands back so you can come back up to tabletop, and on an inhale, float the knees. Gaze is coming to about 6 to 12 inches in front of you. Exhale, lower the knees. This time untuck the toes. Shift the hips back on your exhale into child's pose. You can lower the forehead to the floor. And then to fire up the core, we're going to try a couple different variations. If they do not work for you or your neck, you're just going to come right back to here. First option is on an inhale, you're going to keep your forehead down and you're going to float your arms. And you're going to attempt to keep the seat towards the heels. And then exhale, release the hands. The next option is again trying to keep the seat towards the heels. You're going to inhale, lift the gaze towards your hands, and then maybe lift the hands, either pulling the elbows back in line with the shoulders, reaching the arms back towards the heels, or to really fire up the core, keeping those hands floating forward. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, lower the hands down, come right back up into tabletop. Inhale to tuck the toes in and float the knees. Take last 2 breaths here. Full inhale, full exhale. Keep the core strong, and then on your next natural exhale, you're going to float the knees all the way up so you can extend those legs and reach the hands forward so that you're in a comfortable upside down letter V. Heels are reaching towards the floor. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Maybe the knees have a significant bend in them. That will help to create space in the hamstring and low back. And then you're thinking about pulling the shoulder blades away from the ears as you lengthen the arms, pressing into each knuckle in the fingers. Inhale to lift your gaze towards your hands, and you're going to start to either walk or step all the way forward so the toes come behind the palms. Inhale, you're going to half lift, bring the hands to the shins, extend the spine. Exhale, hinge forward, let everything hang down and waterfall over the legs. And then inhale, you're going to just start to dangle the arms as you roll the spine up 1 vertebra at a time. Slowly reaching the shoulders up, crown of the head to the ceiling. And then weight even in both feet. Stacking hips above the ankles, shoulders above the hips. Pause here for a moment, maybe even close your eyes, and feel 1 to 2 cycles of breath move through the body. Finding that firm foundation with your feet. All right, and if your eyes are closed, move them open. Inhale to reach the arms up, extend to the ceiling. Now cactus the arms as you lift the sternum towards the ceiling, just a baby back bend. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, come back into that forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, deep bend in the knees, bring the hands back down to the floor. Step the feet all the way back behind you towards the other end of the mat. And then, if you choose, you can lower the knees down into modified plank. Or you can keep the legs up, the knees up, and create a straight line from the crown of the head, past the shoulders, past the hips, and then to the heels. Again, pay attention that the ankle bones are not caving in or flaring out, pressing energy to the wall behind you through the ankles. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, you're going to squeeze the elbows into the rib cage, lower down into chaturanga. Inhale either into a low cobra or pressing the floor away, extending the arms, reaching up into high cobra. Tuck the toes into the mat. Exhale, lift the hips into downward facing dog. You're going to take the next inhale, lift that right leg up to about hip height. Again, energy extending out the heel. You're going to bring your gaze to your hands, and on your inhale, shift forward and pull that right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, extend back. And then exhale, step that right leg forward towards your right hand. Lift the hips so you can take a big step forward, lifting the left foot up. Toe heel your feet together so that the ankle bones are touching, big toe ball bones are touching, calves are squeezed together tight, knees are touching, and then just start to slowly lower the seat down towards the floor. Shift your weight back so that the weight is in the heels. You are welcome to stay here and just rest your hands on the floor. You can rest your forearms on the thighs. You can bring hands together at heart center and lift the chest. Whichever hand variation you choose, you're going to really think about weight in the heels, seat lowering towards the floor, and the gaze can be to where the wall meets the floor in front of you, or maybe you lift the chest, bringing the gaze to where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. Last breath here. And then inhale, reach the arms up, extend up, and then into a baby back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bring the hands to the floor, step all the way back, either into your modified plank or full plank. You're going to hold here just about 2 breaths. Thinking about moving the shoulders, shoulder blades down the back, engaging the belly button towards the spine. Inhale. Exhale, lower down into chaturanga. Inhale, your version of a back extension. Tuck the toes into the mat. Exhale, downward dog. Pause here for 2 full breaths. Check in with your mind. Notice where your attention is. On your next inhale, float the left leg up, pausing when the left foot gets to be about hip height. And then in your mind, visualize your pelvis flat from left to right. You're not letting that left hip flare up and out. Taking an inhale, you're going to shift forward, pull that left knee to the left elbow and pause. And then exhale, lift it back up. Inhale, step that left foot all the way to the left palm. Lift the hips to create space. Step the right foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Toe heel the feet together. And then come into your version of chair pose. You can have all of the same arm variations as the last time. Weight in the heels. Seat reaching down and back. Arms, whichever version you choose. Take one more breath here. And then inhale to reach up. Exhale into a back extension. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, hinge forward. Now you still have your feet together. We're going to go into another version of chair pose. Keeping that chest lifted to begin with. This time, bring your hands together at heart center if they're not already there. You're going to take a full inhale to prepare. And then exhale, you're going to start to pivot towards the right. Now, depending on your low back and hips, this may be where you pause. If it's available to you, maybe you think about bringing the outside of the left elbow towards the outside of the right thigh, keeping the knees aligned and together, and then turn the chest to meet the hands. Take another breath here. You're going to bring your weight all into your left foot. Start to release into your right foot. Start to release the left foot, and then take a big step towards the back, keeping that twist. So if you're not hooked, you've just kept your arms into that heart center. If you are hooked, from here, use the leverage with your elbow against the thigh to bring the center of the heart towards the palms. Nice. Inhale. Exhale, release the hands, bring them back down to the floor. Lift the hips so you can step that right foot all the way back into full plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale and up. Tuck the toes. Exhale, downward dog. Take 2 full breaths. Lengthening the spine, reaching the tail to the ceiling. Inhale, you're going to lift that right foot. Maybe you pause again at hip height. Maybe there's space now, and you can lift the leg a little bit higher and still keep that pelvis level. Inhale to prepare. And then exhale, shift forward, knee to elbow and pause. Inhale, reach that leg up. Inhale, step that right foot forward, right foot to the right hand. You're going to pivot that left foot out so that the toes are pointing at about 10 o'clock or maybe 11 o'clock. Right toes pointing at 12 o'clock. Inhale, lift the torso. You can keep your hands right here on the hips, keeping a bend in the front knee, or you can inhale, reach the hands towards the ceiling, shoulder blades away from the ears. Gaze can either be towards the thumbs, or maybe the gaze comes to where the floor and the wall meet in front of you. Take 2 more breaths here. And if you choose on each exhale, you may be just deepening into that lunge just a little bit more. Inhale, and then exhale, lower the arms. Maybe you interlace the hands at your tail. Maybe the hands just point down towards the floor. Inhale here, and then exhale, open up the chest. Inhale again to prepare. Exhale, hinge forward, lowering the chest inside the front knee. Gaze is about where the right toes are. And if it's available to you, on each inhale, maybe you start to lift the hands away from the tail just a little bit. Maybe they start to reach up towards the ceiling each breath. Inhale, bring the torso up and extend the arms to the ceiling, warrior 1. Exhale, hands come back, lower the torso, humble warrior. 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge down. Last cycle, inhale and up. Exhale, lower down. Hold here for a breath. Now bring your back foot to the ball mound, hands to the hips. Inhale, press the floor away and start to float that back foot up. You can pause right here and just have that foot hovering. You can start to bring the foot up to about hip height. You can release your hands and maybe lower the hands to the floor in front of you, and as you do, really start to extend that left leg up, maybe pointing the toe. Right knee can be soft, and you start to hinge forward, coming into standing splits. Last breath here. Nice. Now, if you have the hands on the floor, you're just going to lift the hands up, bring them back to the hips as you start to bring that back knee towards the front. Just left knee at about left hip level. Pay attention to your pelvis, maybe trying to see if you can keep that pelvis even. From here, you're going to bring the left leg out to the left side, and then either lower the left foot to inside the right shin, or find your balance and bring the left foot inside the right inner thigh. Find a point on the floor that is not moving for your gaze point and hold your balance. Some days balance works better than other days. You can take one more breath here. If you'd like, you can reach the arms up to the ceiling. And then on your next exhale, hands come to heart center, step the feet together, and maybe you close your eyes and feel your body. Notice the difference from side to side. And take about 2 recovery breaths. Nice. Release the hands, blink the eyes open. Inhale to reach them up. Exhale into a back extension. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Inhale, half lift, and then start to toe heel your feet together. Coming into a version of chair that works for you. So bending the knees, weight in the heels. You can even wiggle the toes. Lowering the seat down. You can have your forearms on your thighs. You can bring your hands to heart center. And next option, same as the first side. We're going to take an inhale to prepare. As you exhale, you're just going to pivot the chest towards the left side. Now, from here, you are able to stay right here if this is what's better for you. If it's available for you and your low back is happy with it, you can start to bring the outside of the right elbow to the outside of the left knee and come into twisted chair. One more breath here. All the weight into your left foot. Start to float the right foot and then take a big step all the way to the back, coming into twisted lunge. All of the energy pressing out through that right heel. Take 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, release the hands down to frame that left foot. Lift the hips to create space. You're going to turn the right toes out so that they're pointing at about anywhere from 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Inhale to lift the torso. You can keep any amount of bend in your front leg. Hands can stay here at the hips, or you can inhale and reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Gaze either at the thumbs, or gaze can be where the wall meets the floor in front of you. Pause here for about 2 full cycles of breath. And then exhale, lower the hands. You can either interlace the hands behind you or just reach the fingertips towards the floor behind you. Lifting the sternum to prepare on an inhale. Exhale, start to lower the chest forward, maybe bringing the left shoulder inside the left knee. Gaze comes back towards the right ankle. Hands can either stay at the tail or You can start with each inhale, bringing the hands up to the ceiling. Nice. Now inhale, release the hands, reach the torso and the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, hands come back. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, reach it up. And last time, exhale, hinge forward. Pausing here, you're going to lower the hands so that they are framing that front foot. Come to the ball of the back foot. Hands come to your hips. You're just going to press off that back foot and let the back toes float any amount. Now you can stay right here, or you can start to extend that leg up and back further. Maybe you release the hands down to the floor in front of you. And from there, maybe you continue to extend that right foot all the way up towards the ceiling. Gaze comes back towards the left knee, standing splits. Pause and hold here for about 2 breaths. Nice. Now on your inhale, press the floor away with your hands. Start to float up, bringing that right foot forward so that the right knee is about even with the right hip. Pause for a breath. And then from here, right knee comes out to the right side. And then maybe you lower the right foot inside the shin. Or keeping your gaze steady on a point that's not moving, maybe that right foot comes up inside the left inner thigh. And then you're pressing the left inner thigh against the foot as much as the foot is pressing into the inner thigh. Hands can stay on the hips. Or you can inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come back down, release that right foot to the floor. Hands come together at heart center. Lower the shoulders away from the ears. Close the eyes and feel your feet. Feel the foundation under your feet supporting you. Notice your hips stacked over your ankles, shoulders melting away from the ears, crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. Take one more full cycle of breath here. Nice. Release the hands down, bring them to your hips, and then take a step so that you are in the center of your mat, facing the long edge of your mat, so that you're mirroring me. You're going to take an inhale to reach up. And then on your exhale, lower the hands out to the shoulders, and then start to walk your feet out and just eyeball it, and noticing when your ankles are probably close to being under your wrists. Nice. Soften into the knees. Maybe the toes are just slightly turning out towards the corners of the mat. And you're going to exhale, lower the hands down as you hinge forward from the hips, coming into wide-legged forward fold. Fingertips pointing straight ahead. And if it's available to you, you maybe walk the palms of your hands back so that the heel of your hand is pretty much even with the heel of your foot. Letting the head hang heavy, releasing the tension out of the back of the neck. Nice. And then from here, you're going to just start to bend the knees so that you're lowering the hips towards the ground. You can adjust your feet as the knees tell you they need. So if you need to point the toes out to the sides more, that's fine. If you need to maybe walk the feet in closer, that's fine. You're just starting to lower those hips so that potentially your hips and your knees are parallel. And then you're going to inhale, lift the torso, reach the arms up to the ceiling,
And then exhale, bend the elbows, pull the shoulder blades down the back, reach the fingertips so that the energy is pointing up to the ceiling. Sternum is lifting towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Pressing the knees out to the sides of the room. Hold here in Goddess for 2 more breaths. Keeping the core engaged. Nice. Inhale to reach the arms up. Now exhale, you're going to bend into the knees as you reach down to the ground, and then inhale right back up into Goddess. Hold for 2 breaths. Nice. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge. Start to soften the knees as you lower to the floor and come up into Goddess. Hold for 2 breaths. We're going to complete 1 more cycle of that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge, touch the floor, and then back up into Goddess. Last time. Really pressing the knees out to the sides. Nice. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower the hands to the hips. The right foot is going to turn so that the outer edge of the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Left foot is going to pivot so that the toes are pointing straight at the short edge of the mat. Find your pelvis. Notice if it's level. And then you're going to soften just ever so slightly into that front knee. You're not really going to bend it. You're just going to make sure it's not locked out. Inhale, reach the arms up to shoulder height. Shift your right hip back towards your right ankle. Reach your left arm forward, and then exhale, windmill the hands down, triangle pose. Breathe here for about 2 to 3 breaths. Nice. Now, take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, you're going to lower that right hand down towards your towards your low back. Bend into your front knee. Bring the left elbow to rest on the front knee. So you're into a modified version of extended angle pose. You're welcome to stay right here. Next option is to lower your left hand inside that left ankle. Keeping the chest open, keeping the right shoulder stacked on top of the left shoulder. Next option is to take that left hand, pull it around, and bring it up underneath so that perhaps you can bind the 2 hands together. Stay where you're at. I'll pivot around and show what the hands look like on the back side. Possibly the hands touch as you stack the right shoulder over the left shoulder, chest open, collarbones open. Hold there for about 1 more breath. And if you do not have your hands bound underneath your leg, the other option is what we did last week, binding the hands on top of the leg. Now, from here, next version, you're going to keep that chest opened, and you're going to start to toe heel that back foot up to about middle or center of your mat. Now, if you have your hands resting on top of the thigh, this will still work for you. Come to the ball of the left foot. You're going to bring your weight into the right foot and just start to float that left foot up, trying to keep the forearm and the thigh connected. So you're coming into a modified version of Bird of Paradise balance pose. If your bind is underneath the thigh, you're doing the same thing. You're just starting to lift up using the right leg as your foundation. Here, next option is maybe you start to just lift the heel up to where the wall meets the ceiling. 1 more breath. Exhale, gently unwind all of that. Let that left foot come down. Release the right arm. Shake out the shoulders. Hands together. Heart center. And breathe. Take a full inhale, reach the arms up, open the eyes, and then exhale, hands come out to about shoulder height. Walking the feet apart, and this time your left foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Right toes pivot so that the right toes point at the short edge of the mat. Keeping those arms up about shoulder height, take an inhale to prepare. Shift the left hip back towards the left ankle. Reach that right arm forward and then exhale as you teeter-totter the hands. Front knee is slightly soft. Shoulder blades are stacked one on top of the other, so you have left wrist over left shoulder, over right shoulder, and then the right wrist. Hold triangle for 2 breaths. Nice. Start to soften into that front knee as you lower the left hand down to your sacrum. You can bring the right forearm on top of the right thigh, keeping the chest open. Hold here for a breath. Maybe on the next exhale, that right hand comes down in front of the right ankle. Maybe if it's available to you, you start to reach under that right thigh and you bind the 2 hands together, keeping the left shoulder stacked on top of the right shoulder. If the bind is not available to you under the leg, maybe you repeat what we did on the first side and bind the hands together on top of the leg. If this is not available to you, just keep that left hand at the sacrum and just pivot the right forearm to rest on the thigh. Now from here, we're moving up into that balance pose. So this time it's going to be that left foot is going to start to toe heel, or maybe it's just one step for you to come to the center of the mat. And then weight into the left foot. Just come to the ball or the toes of the right foot. And just as your body is ready, start to feel your balance and float that right leg up into bird of paradise. Same thing can work if you have the forearm resting on top of the thigh. Bring your weight into the left foot. Come to the ball or the toes of the right foot, and then just try to keep the elbow connected to the thigh and come up to standing. Last breath here. And if you choose, maybe you extend that leg out and hold for a breath. Exhale, release it down, come back to the center, unwind the hands, and find your center. Feel your grounding, feel your breath. Nice. Take an inhale, reach the arms up, open the eyes. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, coming down into forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, take a deep bend in your knees. Lower the hands to the floor. Come to your tippy toes, just to the ball mounds of the feet. From here, hold your balance as you inhale and start to round up to standing. If the heels drop down to the floor, that's fine. Otherwise, you're going to inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling as you balance on your tiptoes. Take 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, lower the heels down. Reversing that, you're going to toe heel the feet wide this time. Probably about 2 feet, 2.5 feet wide. Toes just slightly turned out at the edges. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, keeping the weight firm in the heels, you're going to start to lower the seat all the way down. Maybe you pause and just let your elbows rest on your thighs here, and that's where you stay. Maybe you start to lower the seat all the way down, bringing those elbows inside the knees, pressing the hands together, opening up into garland pose. Keeping the sternum lifted. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Nice. Exhale, release the hands down to the floor. Inhale, start to shoot the hips up to the ceiling, and then exhale into forward fold. Inhale, half lift, bring the hands to the shins with the legs slightly wide. And then bend the knees, lower the hands to the floor, and come to your version of getting all the way down onto the floor. Maybe that's legs shoot around to the side. Maybe you just squat all the way down to the middle and come into a seated pose on the floor. We're going to extend the left leg long, and then the right foot is just going to come inside the left inner thigh. Now it might be that if this angle is too intense on your knee, maybe you are bringing that foot down further, creating a wider angle. Either is fine. Shift the torso so that the chest is facing that left leg. Inhale, reach the arms up, and then exhale, hinge forward, and then lower the hands to the floor wherever they may land. Pause here and breathe. With each exhale, maybe you notice that you're able to just lower that belly towards the thigh a little bit more. Maybe with each inhale, you can lengthen the spine just a little bit more, and then exhale and lower. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and lower. Last one, inhale and lengthen. Exhale and lower. Maybe this time you can round the spine, dropping the forehead all the way towards the knee. It doesn't mean it touches, just going that direction. Slowing the breathing. And if at any time the body is telling you to back off, then you respond. Nice. Take an inhale and start to bring the gaze up towards the ankle. Hands back to the floor, and then this time you're going to bring the left hand inside that left shin. Adjust your right foot as needed. Maybe it comes further away from you, maybe it comes up closer to your groin, depending on what your your knees are telling you. And you're just going to try and align that left forearm with the left calf. You're going to open that chest again to the front, and then inhale, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe you pause and stay right here. Maybe you exhale and let that right hand extend out over the right ear. Now with the left foot flexed and the left toes straight up to the ceiling, you inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, maybe you come a little bit closer and further down. Eventually, maybe your left elbow actually lands on the floor, your left shoulder opening up so that the right shoulder stacked over it, and then possibly, if you can keep your chest open, your right fingertips touch the left toes. Take one more breath here. Nice. And then inhale, reach that right arm up, let the torso follow, and come back to center. Left leg is going to come and stack right on top of where the right leg is already waiting for it. So what we're going towards is that left ankle on top of the right knee, and the left knee right on top of the right foot. So you might need to shift your hips, get your sits bones firmly seated on your foundation. And it may be that you have a bit of a gap, maybe you have a large gap. If it's a large gap and it's kind of hurting either in your pelvis, in your hips, low back, or knee, you may want to put like a pillow, or even maybe you roll up your mat a little bit and let the knee rest on that. If that's not working for you, the other option is to just rest the left foot right in front of the right foot. So it's kind of a variation of seated, easy seated pose. All right, from here, you're gonna inhale, bring those arms out from the shoulders. As you exhale, you're gonna bring that right arm center, left arm comes up and underneath it, and you're going to cross, make an X at the elbows. From there, you can just lower your hands to your shoulders. Or instead of having the backs of the palms, maybe you crisscross so that the fronts of the palms are touching. And then lift the elbows away from the belly, pull the elbows forward away from the chin. Keep the chin parallel to the floor, crown of the head reaching to the ceiling, and breathe into that space right between your shoulder blades. Breathe into the spaces along the edges of the shoulder blades. Feel the upper back opening up. Inhale, lift the elbows, and then exhale, start to hinge forward from the hips any amount. Now your hips and your upper back will tell you in this pose how far to go. You're gonna listen and stop when the body says to stop. And if it feels like your hips would like to go forward more, but the shoulders are the limiting factor, then you're going to unwind your arms and come forward to where you feel is a comfortable edge. If keeping the arms entwined is working for you, you just start to lower those hands any amount. Maybe they rest right on that left shin. Maybe they come down to the floor. Inhale here to extend the spine, and then exhale, you can start to lower the chin. Take one more breath here. Inhale to bring the gaze towards the fingers. Start to bring that torso up as you unwind the arms. Come up to seated. Your left foot is going to slide off the right leg so that the right leg can extend out along towards the edge of the mat. Bringing that left foot on the inside of the right leg anywhere, maybe calf, maybe knee, maybe on the inner thigh. And then shift the hips so you can start to turn that torso to face over the right leg. Inhale to reach the arms up. And then exhale, hinge forward, keeping the spine lengthened to begin with. Lower the hands on either side of the leg. Take a breath here and lengthen. Exhale, maybe you lower a 1/2 centimeter. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, maybe you lower a little bit more. Do that again. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, maybe the hands move forward, maybe they don't. And then, as you reach your comfortable edge, you start to lower that forehead, let the spine round, release tension out of the back of the neck. Full breaths. Even feel the belly moving against that right thigh. Inhale to bring the gaze to the toes. Press the arms back enough just so that you can bring that right forearm inside the right thigh, calf, or right at the knee. Now, if that's just not available to you in your shoulder, you can certainly just rest the arm right on top of the leg like we did in that balance pose. Whichever position is better for you, you're going to think about moving that chest open, opening up the collarbones so that you are able to stack the left shoulder on top of the right, and then inhale to reach that left arm up. You can stay here, or you can exhale and start to extend that left arm over your ear. Really breathing into the spaces along the side body on the left side. Inhale and lengthen, and then exhale. See if you can reach just a little bit more. Inhale and lengthen. And then exhale, maybe you reach just a little bit more. And then eventually, maybe you see if on this side, it's appropriate to reach those left fingertips to touch the right toes, keeping the gaze up towards where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you, keeping the chest open. Last breath here. Exhale to release. And then inhale, bring that left arm up and over, shifting back towards center. Left leg is already set up and ready for the right leg to stack right on top of it in fire log pose. So right knee is on top of left ankle, right ankle on top of left knee. Inhale to reach the arms out and long. Exhale, you're going to bring that left arm center, right arm is going to hook up and under, so you cross at the elbows. Hands can come to the shoulders, backs of the hands can touch, or you can cross and interlace so that the fronts of the hands cross or touch, and then pull the shoulder blades down towards the waist on the back body. Pull the elbows forward, keep the chin parallel to the floor, keep the crown of the head to the ceiling. Now, if you have that large gap on this side, you're always welcome to either roll that mat or put something there to support it. And whatever your hips and low back are telling you, whatever your shoulders are telling you, as you inhale and then exhale and just start to hinge forward, you're going to listen and stop when your body says stop. Maybe you pause and inhale, let the body acclimate, and then exhale, and maybe it lowers a little bit more. Again, maybe your elbows are resting on that front shin. Maybe your torso is just staying upright. Maybe you unwind the arms to hinge forward. Any of those variations work until you come to your comfortable edge. Take an inhale. And then exhale, release the tension, let the head hang heavy. Full deep breaths, letting the breath move to the hips. Nice. Inhale to release, and then lift up. Coming back up. Gently unwind the legs, bringing the feet to the floor, knees up. Find the space so that you can, I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see me, but find the space so that you can bring those heels closer to the seat, hands behind the thighs, sternum lifted towards the knees. You're going to just start to lower the torso away from the knees as you keep the sternum reaching up. And then maybe the toes float up, maybe the heels float, and then maybe you stay right here. Maybe you extend the heels up and reach out the arms. Thinking about keeping the shoulders out of the ears, thinking about keeping that chin parallel to the floor. Take one more breath here, and if you like, on the exhale, maybe you point those toes up. Take an inhale, and then exhale. If you choose, maybe you lower down halfway. Inhale and lift up. And then exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale and lift up. Exhale, hands behind the thighs. Lower the feet to the floor. Reach around towards the shins. Lifting up. Maybe you just keep your hands resting on each shin. Maybe the hands reach across to opposite shins. Maybe the hands grab opposite elbows. Inhale and extend the spine. Exhale and curve it, lowering the forehead to the knees. Inhale to lift the chin. Hands come back behind the thighs. lower the torso halfway. Now, if you choose, you can just come all the way down to reclining from here, maybe rolling over to the side, maybe gently supporting yourself with leverage behind the knees, or you can release the leverage and then just start to recline down from here, lowering down one vertebrae at a time, and then reaching the feet to the floor. Hands come out from the side body to create space. Inhale, and right where they are, keeping those feet where they are, you can exhale, lower the knees over into a supine twist. It's a little bit more extended maybe than what we typically practice. Chin can stay here, or you can exhale and lower the chin over to the left. Eyes closed if that's available to you. Feel the breath moving in and out. Inhale to bring the chin back to center. One knee at a time. Come back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, let the knees fall over to the left. Chin comes over to the right. Nice. Inhale, chin back up, knees back up, and then exhale. Extend the legs long. Find a comfortable reclined position. Maybe take a moment or two, again, to wiggle any of the joints that might need it. Get the shoulder blades down the back. Shift the ankles from side to side to release the hips. Upper arm bones open to the ceiling. And then, if you would like more grounding, you pivot from the elbow and lower the palms to the floor. Eyes closed as you breathe here in Shavasana. Keeping yourself quiet and calm, holding this reclined position. Noticing any parts of the body that are holding any residual tension. Taking a full inhale, and then as you exhale, deliberately release the tension from that area. Maybe you notice another part of the body that needs the same thing, or you can keep your attention focused just on that one area. And especially here in Shavasana, if you have any distracting thoughts trying to push their way in, before it's time, inhale and acknowledge them. Exhale, let them float away. And then you notice this next inhale, and you notice this next exhale. Taking 2 more full, complete rounds of inhales and exhales. Inhale, let the arms float up above the head. Reach reaching the fingertips towards the wall behind you. Lengthening the legs, pointing the toes, long full body stretch. And then exhale, rolling over to your side body, resting your head on your upper arm. Take a breath to acclimate. Next inhale, pressing the floor away, coming up to seated. Finding a comfortable seated position, reaching the crown of the head to the ceiling, lowering the shoulders. Take an inhale, one last time, palms together, engage that vagus nerve, calm the body with the parasympathetic nervous system, and take an inhale, exhale, lower your gaze towards your fingers. Namaste. Thank you so much. Nicely done. Have a wonderful day.